we recording? Hell yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another week of the podcast, another episode of your favorite official podcast where we cover everything from daily news to media news to giving life advice that I wouldn't take if I was you personally, but that's what we're here for. Here to talk about all the things going on in the world, talk about anything and everything. Also, can't go without introducing Doofles. Doofles, thank you for joining us again today. Doofles has been with us forever now, honestly, almost since the birth of the show at this point. So, everyone give a round of applause for Doofles.
Woo!
Yeah, Doofles!
Yeah! Go Doofus! Take your shirt off!
Yeah.
What? Whoa, what was that
Whoa.
last one?
Dude, he's a child, dude. Come on, dude. Get under
I don't
control.
know, dude. With all that junk in his trunk, I don't know.
Get
Seems a
you.
little grown to me.
He's got a whole lot of trunk. I don't know how much junk's in that, though. You know what I'm saying?
Ta 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 ta.
Ta 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 ta. All right, guys, but yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. Podcast where we're trying to figure out life. We're figuring life out for you. Kidding, we're not. You got to figure that shit out for yourself.
Unfortunately.
But to all our listeners, your guys are killing it, dude. We're all trying to make it through little by little. We all, life is tough out there right now. Inflation's a bitch. Fucking rent is going crazy right now. Living is just, surviving basically at this point.
Yep. It's
So-
the living nightmare.
Yeah, I get it. Living nightmare.
Isn't it crazy how like the idea of a zombie is like this like already dead monster type of person that is like trying to eat brains, but like theoretically your average human is half dead moving around like zombified type shit. Like I don't want to be here for the 8 hours that I have to be here, but I am. Please don't bother me.
You ever seen somebody on bars?
Oh yeah.
That's
But
a
I mean
zombie.
that's not zombie. No. I would say that's like
I don't know.
that's like slothified, not
Yeah,
zombified.
those motherfuckers will fucking fuck you up for no reason. They don't even know why either.
Sometimes. I don't know. There's different types of like barred out. I've seen the just like sleepy barred out. I've seen the criminal barred out.
Yeah, I've seen that one a lot.
I've seen the violent barred out, which those two can sometimes coincide.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I think that there's like a spectrum to being barred out. You know what I mean? Like some people, I mean, I think it just kind of raises some people's inhibitions to do stupid shit, and other people it raises their inhibitions to like be more conservative and like find a fucking couch at the party type shit instead of like being a rambunctious or a problem for anybody.
Yeah, I mean it's an antidepressant.
Yeah. So I guess depending
Or-
on like
Or really, no, it's an it's really, I guess antidepressant. Because for anxiety,
okay.
so mostly.
But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Is it's like depending on I guess like your brain chemistry, it might affect like you differently.
That's probably true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if maybe you are someone that's not prescribed bars, but you take one and maybe have been like, what's the word? It's not misdiagnosed, but like whenever they don't diagnose you with something that you do have. Because a misdiagnosis is when they diagnose.
Undiagnosed.
Is it undiagnosed? I don't know. I feel like that's wrong. I feel like there's a word for it, but I might be wrong. But anyways, what I'm saying is like if someone's not diagnosed with it and is supposed to have it and they take it, it might just have like a normal reaction to it, like what it's supposed to do, which is calm you the fuck down. But
Remember
someone that's not prescribed it, that isn't supposed to have it, that takes it recreationally, might enact some other part of their brain while they're taking that.
which probably is not for the best. Yeah, I know. Whenever I tried it for the first time, I only took like a half of one. I was in high school. Like fuck that, never again. It just made me tired, dude. And when I woke up, I was a zombie. Like zombie. I moving slow. I couldn't even think straight, dude. It was awful. Would never do this.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. I mean, it's kind of like I don't know. That was a bad analogy. I was gonna say it's kind of like Coke in the way that like I've seen a lot of people make terrible decisions based off of that. But I actually don't have as negative of a viewpoint on Coke as I do Xanax, if that makes sense.
Yeah, drugs are one of those things. I would say there's a lot of them that are misunderstood. Is not the right word, but people don't have the like knowledge on
There's
them.
no
They're not as
education in it.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
n-
yeah.
the, ed- yeah the knowledge like people aren't as knowledgeable about uh
But that's
the drugs as
the
they should be.
but that's like a process that's created. You know what I mean? Like the more people are uneducated about drugs, the more money the pharmaceutical companies make. So theoretically speaking, like you don't well, we would like people to know about the drugs that they're taking, but the people selling the drugs don't want anyone to have like any idea of what they're really doing. Cuz like a lot of those companies are invested in other pharmaceuticals that help people get less addicted to the pharmaceuticals they sell. So they're on making money on both ends of your
And
trauma.
those usually end up being addictive as well. It's just a cycle
Absolutely.
of addictiveness. But I would say though, uh, not like saying like I advocate. I don't know. When I was younger, for sure would have advocated for drugs. I'm not gonna lie. Try them. You know.
Yeah.
Now I would say if you do try, they're not for everybody. You know, I've seen people that just you should not ever do.
I'm an
But
advocate for people like getting a real education before they make the judgments of what they're talking about.
yes, whether they choose to do it or not, and I would also say be safe. You know, and
Right.
know who you're getting from.
Test your drugs.
Test kits are a big deal now, especially with fentanyl going around and stuff. That test your drugs for sure. I think that's an important thing to keep in mind for anyone who's thinking about trying anything or anybody who even does it maybe recreationally. You know, just be careful out there. Take care of your friends. Take care of each other. Try to be a little bit kinder when it comes to stuff.
I was hearing somebody talk about like how is it not commonplace for like festivals to have their own like testing centers? Like you set up a tent somewhere throughout like in the festival or multiple up to that point with how many people are there and you know what I mean, like you don't want all this volume at one location. You could have multiple tents throughout and having people like, look, we don't condone you taking drugs here on our watch, but since we know that you are, allow us to help you not die. You know
Yeah,
what I
that'd be
mean?
great.
Like
I think there's some probably legality within that. You know,
there's probably
of
some type of
encourage.
legality, but like
Yeah.
even then it's like are you really encouraging drug use or are you acknowledging the drug use that is going to happen on your premises and saying let's meter that and try to like get the best health care we can because there are going to be people with bad reactions on drugs that aren't laced. You know what I mean? To have the people that are going to have the reactions because of laced drugs interact with the people that are having bad reactions with not laced drugs, it's just going to be a whole like environment for horrible vibes and also bad experience. Like it could lead to someone becoming violent if they feel like they're being like enclosed on or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. My opinion on that is, I think for sure they should have more places. You know, they allow to test. I know there there's a lot of events starting to incorporate Dance Safe, which is like a organization who like tries to like push like forward like more knowledge on different types of drugs. That way, people don't have a misinformation of what it means to take certain drugs. And they do kits, but they sell them. I think you have to buy them, so not the same as just having it deck for people to just
I
because
mean,
it's
I'm not even really saying that the testing centers should be free. I mean, even if it costs money for you to get your
it yeah.
like drugs tested at the festival, what I'm saying like on the festival organizers' hands, that might be worth setting up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like to
people are
just
starting to get on that.
just to not have to deal with the PR nightmare that they're dealing with. What was the most recent one?
Okeechobee.
Okeechobee, right?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, without getting too much into what happened there, like what I'm saying is it seems like some of that stuff could have been prevented, and it seems like a lot of the things that happen at a lot of the festivals could be prevented.
Yeah,
I know that there are outliers of things where like someone gets a hair up their ass and causes some, like mass panic or a problem for everybody. But what I'm saying is like on the regular, like the majority of issues that happen at festivals are drug related, right?
yeah.
So like
A
I
lot of
think
them.
if you can acknowledge that instead of like thinking of it as a encouragement, as if you're just acknowledging it, then like I think you can really take a stronghold over what's happening at your festival.
This is how I feel about anything with that kind of situation in general. Is that I mean, yeah, it's how you cultivate the community in the first place, and kind of how you go about that. But I think with bigger organizations and bigger promoters, such as Insomniac, who is one of the people that helped throw the event. I mean, they have a another person who helps throw that event as well. I think it is for sure partially up to them to kind of set the benchmark and set the standard of safety. But I also think also like encouraging those type of things. But I also think that people who go to those things, even though people feel like it is a safe place to, or should feel like a safe place to be able to do drugs or experiment with whatever, you should still take it upon yourself to take those safety precautions. Which also goes back to, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, like you were saying too, they should have available like tents or something set up to where you could have the availability to buy a test kit on premises, just in case, So that way it ensures ensures that, well, it doesn't necessarily ensure, but it creates a space where you're more likely to have a safer
I mean,
environment for
even
everybody.
like on a business level, if you look at it from the outside looking in, it provides the person that organized the event with a level of like liability. Like I gave the people the option to test their drugs at my festival. They decided not to, and they had some fentanyl in their system whenever they died or something. Like it can at least be a barrier for you to say like I
Yeah.
tried to give back to the community. I tried to help people out. I can't make the horse drink the water once I bring him to the
Very
lake.
true.
You know what I mean? Like, but it could be just like for an organizer's point of view of being like, I don't have control over everything that happens on the premises, but I am responsible for everything that happens on the premises.
I think drug education too, maybe like having classes or something, there, or just something to go over,
Yeah.
stuff like that. It could be really important. I mean, just in general in life, even growing up. I mean, you had sex education. I think
Even that was
high
a
school.
joke.
Yeah, I think drug education is almost like they're both really important. Honestly, sex education, they didn't go over things like sexual assault or
No, they went over like what you learned in biology class.
yeah. I mean, it should be a lot more. The scope of that should be a lot more than what they taught you. For sure.
Absolutely. And it's all under this umbrella of like, well, we don't want to ruin these kids' childhood by introducing them to the darkness of reality. And it's like, you're a joke. All of these kids have already been introduced to that. They just have no understanding of what that was.
Yeah.
Teach them for what it is so they don't continue to think that that is what they should be doing.
Yeah, like
You know what I mean? When if you're a product of your own environment, if you're someone who sees your dad beat your mom every day, then you might think that's normal, as fucked up as that sounds. That might be your reality of like, oh, this happens to everyone's mom. Everyone's dad beats their mom. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a fucked up thought that is being like that word, but by the society that's trying to hide perpetrated by the society that's trying to hide the darkest of information from their children.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because it's like the only way through or the only way out is through. You know what I mean?
I mean, especially growing up. I mean, since we weren't even given shit, I mean, I had to learn. You have to learn on your own by creating those boundaries with each other. And one of the biggest parts. Could you grab me one as well? Like one of the biggest things is, people think it's like dumb to ask questions in the sense that, hey, can I have consent? Or hey, what's going on? Like, did you want to go further with this? Just any type of question trying to fill out the situation. It was seen as dumb. People would rather go for the kiss or go for whatever, because it seems like a turn off or whatever to ask. But I don't know.
Suck because asking the question makes it like a more awkward like position in life. When you do ask that question, you are being a little bit more careful and you are gaining consent over whatever you're doing. But I mean, I think the turnoff is that like you have to go through the uncomfortability of not just asking but also receiving the answer from the other person. That person's like maybe like I wish you would have just kissed me, motherfucker. But at the end of the day, I feel like there is a little bit more appreciation of like I'm glad that you were aware of my concerns before you went after what you want type shit.
Yeah, where I was going with that too is, not really having the proper education on that growing up. You have to learn those things, and it sucks. There's a lot of kids out there who learn it by fucking up in a bad way. Not necessarily to the extremities that it could be like the horrors of like rape or anything like.
Right.
But to an extent, it could be just even just kissing a girl, thinking like that's the move you need to make, and that is still sexual assault
Right.
because they didn't ask for it. But it's just like not defending these like guy or girl in that situation, whatever, a girl like maybe grabbing a dude's dick thinking that's okay, because that happens too.
Oh yeah. I mean, like
None of that's okay. But there's just like the society that we grow up in. It kind of like have an idea that this might be okay. Oh, it's okay because I'm a girl and guys like stuff like that. But not every guy. Some guy could have been sexually assaulted when he was a kid by an adult or something, and then you grab his dick, could give him like
That's a
post-traumatic
trigger.
stress. It's a trigger
Yeah.
for him. Yeah, you don't know those situations. But like even just as little as like, maybe a guy going in for a kiss and kissing on the lips, that's not but like they might not have meant it in like a way where like I'm trying to force myself on you. They might just actually think that that's like how you're supposed to do things
Right.
because of the lack of education we actually are given. And it's also a thing where like everyone wants to just blame people and throw fingers and be angry about stuff rather than actually like
Change.
go back to the roots, of it all, and understand that like proper education is the fault of it. And kids don't understand things if we're not taught. And if you're a child who's not taught anything as an adult, you're basically still a child who was not taught anything.
But even behind that, it's not just lack of education. It's lack of education and the addition of miseducation.
Yeah.
You don't have a real education on how to be a human. There is no real book that tell you which way to do what, how to treat people, how to not get taken advantage of, how to find your way in life. That information doesn't exist. What you're dealing with is someone else's version of their reality, how they got through their life, how they overcame their challenges, and you can try to apply the lessons that you can take from that, but it's not always going to match up to your life. It's not always going to make sense. You can't always take the answer and just apply the same formula to what you have going on. I mean, sometimes it is that easy. If it's tying your shoe, then obviously there's like a way to get that done. But if it's you're a homeless person and you want to find a way to get a job and get a home, that's not a solvable situation that you can just go online and get an answer for.
Yeah.
You got to live day by day with that goal being the head, like the forefront of what you have going on. You have to push back all the negativity, all the darkness, all the doubt, all the regret, and you have to be something that you have never been before. You have to change the entire fabric of what you call your reality to get out of that situation.
I think also just like whether it's a kid or young adult, even older adults, it's first of all you have to learn all these things, right? And it is different for everybody, and everyone's boundaries are different. But I think that's something we should also be taught, is learning that we all have different boundaries and trying to figure out those boundaries within ourselves, which is also a life lesson because half of us don't even know what boundaries we have until we're in the moment where we have to figure them out, because whether it's because of our insecurities or things that we didn't know we could have felt before, especially when you are in relationships or that, because of like you having to be vulnerable 100%, and you have to kind of let your guard down, and that's feelings can be strong for a lot of people, and understanding who are you and also who is the person that you are trying to move forward with, and what are their boundaries and how to set boundaries. And the thing is, I don't even think half the people teaching that stuff know like
What their own boundaries
or
are.
how to teach that,
Yeah.
or what the case may be. And I mean, that's kind of I think a problem in the cycle of teaching.
I mean,
too.
theoretically speaking, that like there is no real way to like teach like compassion or like consideration. Like it does have to be a decision within oneself to have compassion for another person, to take other people into consideration. You could see somebody that's the most giving person and still be selfish. You could be like have access to Jesus Christ himself and still find your way to be Judas. You know what I mean? Like there is like these these examples of how you can get through, but it doesn't always apply. So you do have to like kind of take it with that grain of salt of like, okay, this person is teaching me this, but one, where are they getting this lesson plan from? Two, are they even applying these teachings in their own life? Three, how does one find their way to teach something that they don't quite understand? Like if you're learning physics from an actor, I mean, not to take anything away from the actor, he might have a physics degree, but he chose a different career and therefore is no longer in the field of physics. Learning physics from a physicist who does physics on a day-to-day basis would probably be a better situation than learning physics from someone who has an understanding of physics but doesn't utilize that information at all in their day-to-day life.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I think in all education systems, lack is really focusing important with those things. I mean, just any subject at all. Just growing up, I mean, getting proper education for anything, honestly, uh, is a struggle. And it's more so like you having to learn the things, and whether that, like
Right.
like, and we talk about it all the time. I mean, there's so many sources now to try to learn from, and
Yeah.
most of them are not good.
Well, I heard someone
To dig through the trash to find the treasure, big time.
I heard someone say it recently. It was something along the lines. It was a saying that like uh not everyone is prepared for the spotlight, but everyone has access to it. So like it's kind of the idea that like you to be in the old days to have the spotlight, you used to have to go through 20, 30 years of work to building this career, building this name, building this person that people love and want to see, want to hear from. It used to take a body of work to get to that point. Now any person with a smartphone and a good content idea has a spotlight on them, and not everyone knows what to do with that. Some people fold under that pressure. Some people fucking find success and make the best out of it. But everyone has access to that spotlight. Not everyone knows what to do with it.
Yeah, it's like the idea I've seen a lot in the music industry talking about it recently. Is the idea of getting to the top fast, whether connections or being a plant, or
Well, I mean,
money or whatever the case may be, or having that actual organic growth and having to go through all those long nights and treacherous like flights and fucking just like any roadblock that comes along your way.
the hitting the rock bottom as an artist to find your way up type
and
shit.
building your way like that. The organic growth kind of helps you to adjust.
In today's market, that's no longer a requirement.
Yeah. So I mean that does cause a lot of like it honestly is a big cause of a lot of like big problems that are
Right. And I mean, it
In a
kind
lot
of
of
goes
industries.
back to really a lot of things we've talked about, but like specifically speaking, I mean, the music industry is profiting off of people like talented artists that are life-changing, that could be super influential. The music industry is making money off of those artists being shut out by the sheer volume of music coming out. But as soon as you have a generational level artist, that, I mean, yes, you can still make money off of them like on the streaming platforms and things like that, but you have no power over that artist. You have no power over that art that's being released. You want this person to think that they have no power in the music industry so that they sign a 360 deal with you, and you now get to run their entire complexities of everything they do. You own basically the artist, maybe not the person. You don't own the person, but you own the artist.
Basically, I mean the music business is fucking insane. I mean it's a business, like anything else.
Right.
Not as pretty as we'd like to seem. But yeah, no, wrapping back around to also like going back to the drug thing and education is if we did have more like education on a lot of those things, I think as not even just our country is like the world would probably be a lot more like just in most things actually, but like I don't know, drugs is always a weird thing to me because of just how they're ostracized and how in most lights they're seen as terrible things.
But I mean, our
But
education system like provides for the society that we have. Like breeding people that follow orders, that are afraid of authority, that have this idea in the back of their mind that oh my God, my GPA isn't high. If I don't get my grades up, then I won't get into college. And if I don't get into college, then I'm going to be a failure for the rest of my life. It's just like you're breeding a person that will listen to you. You know what I mean? Like, and at that level, it's like that's kind of what our society wants. Our society, all these bankers and fucking Wall Street guys, they don't want a bunch of people that are defiant and out doing their own shit. You know what I mean? Like, you want a bunch of people that are afraid and going to listen to the status quo.
I kind of want to go into that, yeah, a little bit more, but I wanted to finish up on the topic, especially on just like the educational portion and talking about Okeechobee. That stuff is that it's weird to look at because those things can be used as tools. Like we see it now, in Colorado, them doing a lot of like FDA is like gave them the approval to basically like go forward with research on the drugs, like with MDMA and
Mushrooms.
psilocybin. Yeah, and seeing a lot of that stuff, with proper treatment and smaller doses, it actually helping cognitive function, helping people with PTSD get over it, and also people who have done research on like not just psilocybin, but like psilocybin has led to actually further research on other types of mushrooms and mushrooms that are non psychoactive, of course.
Right.
Like the reishi mushroom or the turkey tail or lion's mane, cordyceps, like all those are non psychoactive, but they have like big benefits for the body, for your immune system, for your energy. Like they provide like certain vitamins, like they're important, and I think some of those drugs have definitely led to us figuring that stuff out, and also just tools to help us. Like, I don't want to say open your mind, but see, opening your mind, honestly, in my opinion, is overused. It's just another way to say it gave you a different perspective,
right,
that you didn't have before. Like when you do something that's fucking putting your brain on overdrive, like just fucking running on 10 million, you're gonna start seeing things from other perspectives because your mind's just all over the place.
Right.
And with that being said, like I mean, firsthand experience, and a lot of people I know too, there are people who have terrible experiences. But regardless, bad or good, that stuff rewires your brain in a way because you're seeing things from a completely different perspective that you didn't see before. You're thinking in a completely different way. It's definitely changing the reality that you once lived in. Whether however you want to put that, however you want to word that, that's essentially what's happening.
I mean, like I think I've talked about it on the show before, but like I've even had like thought processes of potentially like every time you step into like a really deep trip, maybe not like you're just like your average micro dose or maybe even like a macro dose, but not like a heroic dose or anything like that. I feel like every time you step into a heroic dose on either shrooms or acid, there is a real possibility of like your consciousness physically like jumping into a parallel universe, like literally becoming a different you, literally living a different life in a different universe. I don't know how, like there's literally almost no way to prove that, but like there's also no way to prove what consciousness is. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I've had that thought process before based on the idea that like after a really strong heroic dose, just realizing portions of my reality that didn't add up. That is either changes that happened or people that I felt like were acting different, or even things in myself that just didn't seem like quite right. I was like, what the fuck is it possible that like I jumped into a reality that wasn't mine, but now is, and I'm kind of stuck here type shit. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
I don't know. It's purely a thought. But what I was going with that is that like on that level, I feel because we don't have a real education on what psychedelic drugs can do, or even like ketamine and fucking, or is ketamine a psychedelic? And it's a dissociative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But like even things like that, I think what we try to do is put our perspective and our experience into the mix of the information of what it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I think that's what's fucked up about it, is that there's no provable way to explain what a mushroom trip is. You can like make a pretty cool video and like it have like things that like breathe and really cool visuals, but even that is like not it's like a damned version, a damnation version of what you're actually experiencing under that trip. So like what I'm saying is that like is it is it by design that the information that we have is based off of experience? Or is that literally all the information that we can get? Is there no real way to understand the complexities of what these drugs do to our perspective other than just to
Oh, I
like
mean, there is for sure.
experience
I
it?
mean, especially like with psilocybin, because they've been doing, I mean, research on that longer now. With NBMA, I mean, they started doing, even I think in Colorado, they're doing like research on ketamine with ketamine now too
Right.
for clinical trials and stuff like that. But with psilocybin, especially, I mean, yeah, no, it definitely like microdosing, and that's what I was gonna say too is that in smaller doses and actually like for medical purposes, they actually do have effect like good effects, positive effects
Right.
on the body. I think the overconsumption and the overdoing of the drug is what really causes a lot of the problems in the first place.
Right.
Other than like honestly, I'd say cocaine is probably one of the worst drugs like in terms of just I mean even I don't know what you would get out of it
Like
in
harm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what you would get out of that medically, out of in moderation. I
Oh,
don't
you
think.
mean like positively?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
really. I mean, don't think there's really much there. I mean, I don't think there's much research that's gone into that, but I couldn't imagine there being much that would really be useful from that. But aside from that, like even with MDMA, ketamine, like psilocybin, in small amounts, doses, along with uh, psychiatric help, even without that, that's still like if you do like little increments amounts, it can really help improve a lot. Like PTSD, it's been helpful a lot with PTSD,
Right.
and all like it's mostly because of like the parts of your brain that it helps to interact with, and like that like the frontal. I think it's the frontal lobe, like the areas that light up normally,
Right.
and then like the areas that it lights up whenever you're on the drugs. Like you start to see more coverage there. And like it
Okay.
start like a lot of those synapses that weren't connected start to connect more, and it starts to help like you kind of heal through that PTSD.
Yeah.
I'm not
See,
going like
and
complete. I'm not like a scientist on it. You know what
right.
I mean? So
I was
like,
gonna say we don't really have like a full understanding of what that even really means, like to your experience as a person. One,
yeah,
because I don't have PTSD, and two, I don't know what it's like to recover from PTSD. So like without those two key pieces of information, this is kind of what like I didn't say it as well as I could have, but what I'm saying is like our experience with drugs is based off of experience. Therefore,
yeah.
is there not 7 billion ways to describe what drugs are? Because there's 7 billion different experiences happening. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I do want to say this though. So I do know somebody who does have PTSD, right? And they kind of like there specifically, like once again, everyone's probably
different.
experienced
Yeah.
their PTSD a little bit different, but this instance in particular, it's like a static constantly going on, in the background of their brain. They can kind of hear it going on. It's like constantly like they're on edge to an extent. Like they learn to deal with it, but it's there in the
Okay.
background constantly. And they had tried Molly for the first time, and they felt it all like wash away. Like they felt at ease, and like they could like it wasn't they didn't take a lot, like they
Right.
took a little bit by little, and like they felt at ease, and like they felt it all wash away, and they felt like a normal human being in
Right.
that moment. And like that made me think too, because that was their first time ever trying it, and I think they took less than like a point .1. But for anyone who knows, like point .1's not like that. You should only take a
The
max. I think
normal dose.
like .12, I think is the most you're supposed to take in an instance.
I've gone
Yeah,
crazy.
you should not take more than that. But yeah, definitely she took less than a .1. But the fact of the matter is, it got me to thinking. It's like if you do that, like on a weekly basis, and you have like someone to work with you, you know what I mean? It could really,
Therapy
yeah, you
situation.
could really help to like make some improvements. You could really make some progress and breakthroughs with that.
Right.
I mean, I don't have the full science on that, but I think that's like something that we should all. I mean, once again, I mean, obviously there's people who are doing the research for it,
Right.
but that's something that we should start focusing on more than just all the negatives.
See, but that's what I'm saying. All the negatives are just based off of experience. In the way that, like, if there are 7 billion different ways to describe what one drug is, because it's all based off of experience, then every negative thing you've ever heard can be thrown out the window along with every positive thing. Because if you haven't taken it, you don't know how you are going to experience it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So like even if there was a drug that was across the board zero negative experiences, if the only information you had about that was people's experience on it, then you have to throw all that information out because you don't know if it's an across the board going to be good for
Yeah, but
you.
that's kind of. I mean, it's tough to say that because I mean that's.
I'm not
kinda,
saying you throw out all the positive and negative impacts. What I'm saying is that whenever someone is looking at maybe taking a psychedelic, you kind of do have to throw out all the positive and negative impacts because you could have a great trip or you could have a bad trip. You could have a somewhere in the middle type of trip, or you could just not trip at all because you don't. Some people, I mean, they need higher doses based off of like their brain chemistry and things like that. But like what I'm saying is that like if you're going into these psychedelic experiences thinking you are going to have any type of experience based off of research or
Yeah.
your friends
yeah,
or
that's
then you gotta throw that out the window
That's
because
true.
you relatively have no clue what you're about to
Oh yeah,
experience.
I mean even trip to trip for the same
Exactly.
person is just not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's another point is that like if you take it like experience by experience, even the same person can talk about the same drug in a different way, which is crazy. I mean, like
There's
you would
also
think.
potencies and different things that kind of go into play with a lot of
I
that.
mean, it's a lot of
too.
it is set and setting. A lot of it is just like where you are mentally and where you are physically. If you aren't in a comfortable place or you aren't in a peaceful place, then you're probably going to have a bad trip. I mean,
But that's
it's not
also not-
required. It's not going to happen. But if you're not in a good spot, it's probably gonna happen. Because I mean, the things that I've noticed about psychedelics is that it brings all the things that you're avoiding to the forefront of your mind. And if you're strong enough to deal with those things and walk your way through it, then you're fine. But if you are letting those things cripple you, you're about to have 12 hours of the worst time of your life.
That's what I'm saying. Like those smaller doses can really help with stuff like
Oh,
that.
yes.
Like in,
I'm
like
talking
little
about
amounts,
like
just
macro
full-
doses
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah,
Sorry.
like just going full fledged into that. Yeah, those are two different things for sure.
I mean, for my experience, a micro dose is supposed to be a dose that you really don't even experience. I mean, you feel it, but you're not like tripping.
Oh, you
You're
don't
not,
visual, no
Yeah,
visuals. Yeah, no
not even
visuals.
like an internal trip. Like you
Oh.
feel better. You feel a little bit more mobile. Feel a little bit more like loose. But like you don't. It's not like you're feeling like the funny in your
Oh, yeah,
heart or anything like that. You
No,
know what I
not
mean?
at all. Yeah, and I mean, microdoses honestly, do they work? I mean,
lot of
I can
people
contest
use
that.
them.
I've done it a couple times, like microdose a couple times.
They're
but
commonplace for a lot of people.
some people do them like daily. It's like
Yeah.
I mean, shit. It's like morning coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you could do morning coffee or you could eat some mushrooms.
Or you could do both.
Yeah, I mean, some people do. I mean, they have mushroom coffee and shit now. I'm kind of crazy how I'm starting to kind of get on that wave now a little
But
bit.
see, like I guess, like just to wrap up what I was talking about, it's sad that like we have rules and regulations and laws based off of information that is experience based,
Or outdated, just in
or
general.
I mean, clearly outdated, as well as the idea that like you put this law in place based off of either your or your friend or someone's experience. You know what I mean? Like this was like someone that experienced something, and then maybe like it's the old adage of like they put this sign up because some fucking idiot jumped into the fucking river with the alligators. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was probably somebody back in the day that like started murdering people, and his thing was mushrooms, and they were like, "Oh my god, mushrooms make you kill people." So now we gotta outlaw that.
But
Instead of having actual information to run your society on.
I would say just this alone. So like, laughing gas is legal.
Yeah.
Like it's
What are you talking about? What's it called? Whippets.
whippets. Yeah, I mean, you can buy fucking they're used to make whipped cream too, so you
Right.
can buy them at the smoke shop. Like,
But
it's,
to be fair, on
Li-
the box
just
it
'cause-
says whippets. It
Yeah.
doesn't say whipping cream canisters.
Oh, yeah, some of
It
them do.
says
So-
whippets.
some of
No,
them do,
they
yeah.
know what they're doing.
some of them do, yeah, but some are just like say like whipping cream,
That's fair.
whatever. So,
Sorry, guys.
but there we go. Right, nice. But essentially, where I was going is, don't get me wrong, all things legal does not mean that they're okay. But like, it's legal, but the way that people look at it, like people they use it in doctors' offices, dentists,
Yeah.
dentist offices and stuff like that. And like for me, it's funny because people will look at that and be like, "Oh, dude, that stuff is dangerous." Like you could,
Oh, it's definitely seen as like the same, like akin to huffing paint.
yeah, which
Yeah, like,
it's not on that
it's
level.
not,
Huffing
but
paint definitely fucks you up way more. But also where I'm at is
the
the people like
whippets do fuck you up in excess.
in
If you take
excess,
a lot,
and that yeah,
or
Too-
not even a lot, but you do them regularly,
that
then
too.
then it could be very detrimental to your neurology, as well as a
Your
lot
lung-
of
it's because
your
it's depriving you
nervous
of
system stuff.
oxygen.
Yeah.
That's the main reason. Like people don't understand. Like, dude, they just hear that. It's like, do you know why? It's because if you're doing a lot, you're depriving yourself of oxygen and replacing that with nitrogen.
Correct.
It's gonna fuck you up if you're doing it a lot. But like in like small doses, it won't do any of that. Now I'm not saying there's like medical benefits for it per se. Like it's just funsies.
It's just not as detrimental to your
But then
body or
it's-
brain.
Yeah, it's crazy to me when people are like, dude,
not
that's scary.
healthy.
No, people are like, that's kind of scary. And then it's like, you do cocaine.
That's
I
true,
would
yeah,
take
yeah,
a
yeah.
couple steps back from anything you just said. Like, you need to reevaluate what we're talking
but like,
about here.
Just because someone loves roller coasters doesn't mean they want to be in the midst of a car accident. You know what I mean? Like, there's some things that are thrilling, but you don't want to replace those things with other things. Does
Yeah,
that
but
make sense?
cocaine's definitely worse.
It's horrible, but it's not putting a gas into your body. You know what I mean? People will like be that weird about it. It's like, I can see this. This is a solid, and plenty of people do it. And even though they die, I think I'll be all right.
They get nosebleeds and heart
But
problems and
whenever you
brain
see, like, a-
problems,
Whenever you
but
see
like
the gas, you're like, I can't. I don't know if that is weird because I don't know if it's like a thing about like I can't see it, and I know that it's like I'm experiencing it. But I don't know if there's that fear or really where it comes from. But that is interesting how some people are willing to like just take a random pill that they found on their floor just to see what it does. But they will say that doing a whippet is crazy.
that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
The
I
thing
see
about
it.
whippets
See what you're
too,
saying.
it's not gonna be laced with fentanyl.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard to lace that with fentanyl.
My point, exactly. But like cocaine, like, dude, stranger,
We're just
give
challenging.
it to me,
We're
dude.
challenging a chemist right now. They're like, "Oh, you don't think I can make fentanyl a gas?
Like,
Hold my beer."
You're like, "Fuck, dude." But that shit's what's funny. Like, dude, that honestly, that's kind of like, you do that, and then it's like, I'm pretty sure I've seen some stranger offer you cocaine. You're like, dude, fuck yeah, man. Fucking, all right, chill out there,
I
bud.
saw a fucking Instagram reel of this dude. He was talking about like, yeah, back whenever COVID was going on, I was really entrenched in it, and I thought that the vaccine was the way to go. But then one of my friends, he asked me, why should I get the vaccine? And I was like, dude, you do cocaine and you have no fucking worry about there being fentanyl in that. So you're on top of that, you're going to raw dog life in the middle of a pandemic. And he was like, did you start that sentence with what I heard? Yes, I'm going to raw dog life in the middle of a pandemic. I do strangers cocaine. I'll be fine.
He's like, damn, you got a good point. That's fair. I mean, might as well raw dog it. We're already fucking here, baby. Yeah, no, it's just.
Real shit though.
But yeah, no, I think it's just like people need to kind of. It goes with anything though. It's not just drug education. But yeah, tying that back into Okeechobee too. I mean, there should just in general more communities should be just more inclined to the community. Not inclined, but like more helpful to the community that they're pandering towards.
Yeah.
Make the environment an enjoyable place, right? That should be the goal. It's not because of money and capitalism. If it breeds anything, it's greed, and people love fucking money. But if these people were and these organizations did try to actually just be more helpful to the community that they're pandering to, things would be a lot more fun. Things would be a lot more enjoyable. Like if I were to throw a show, I'd want to make sure that everything's good. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that people are having a good time. Maybe have courses while you're there. Maybe have like little shows or little classes, just or interactive stuff.
Would it really cut into the budget that much? You know what I mean?
At that
like,
point, probably not.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're hiring 4 extra people per tent, maybe 4 tents. You're hiring 16 extra people, as if you can't afford that. You know what I mean? Like
people will volunteer. There's people who
I'm
would love
sure
to
there
volunteer to
I'm
ensure
sure
the safety of
there's
other
plenty of
patrons.
people that would say, I love these shows, but I would rather miss a couple headliners if it meant no one had to die.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that it's just all too convenient. It seems, I don't want to get conspiratorial on this, but like it seems like there might be a driving force within the community to not have these precautions, to not set up these preventative measures for their own patrons.
There are some that do though.
I'm sure there are, but those people that do go to show that everyone could.
Yeah.
So like at that level, it does begin to feel like, well, do you want people to die?
No, but this is also where I'm at on that. Like, I stand with that, but then I also want to give a counterpoint because I think this is also important because it's okay to have opinions on both sides, not just be
You're
divided
gonna
on this
say
issue.
that like people should be smart and like be
It's also
responsible for
up to the people
themselves?
within the community to ensure their own safety as well as maybe help out. And if you really want it to be an enjoyable environment, take care of the people around you. It's not your job, that no one should be entitled to help anybody,
Right.
But if you really want to make sure that everything's good, first foremost, make sure you're good. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're aware of your surroundings. You're aware of what you're doing, what you're taking. All that good stuff is important. But on the opposite end, also, it doesn't hurt to look out for the people. If someone's dehydrated, give them some water. Or in another case, like if they need food or snacks or something, if you have it on you, gum, whatever the case may be, share it if you can.
Right.
What goes around comes around. If you have a system like that, not only is the community looking out for each other, but the organization as well is kind of taking that extra step to look out. And so everyone does feel safe. You know what I mean? You're going to a place where you're not having to look over your shoulder. Is someone going to steal your phone? Is someone going to give you bad drugs? All this, you're taking all of these preventative measures starting from with yourself and then as well as the organization putting on the event. I think if we check
Right.
all of those boxes, then it would create a much better environment for everybody. And that's not just music festivals. I mean, any type of festival or any type of event that you go to, starts with each other. If we all looked out for each other and went to those things, I think we would be in a better state than we are now. You know
I
what I mean?
agree, but where I stand on that, without being in the community, it is the responsibility of the person throwing it more so than the responsibility of the person that you're referring to. Because in my opinion, it's like you can do everything right and still pass out in the middle of a crowd and get stomped
No,
on.
yeah, and you should.
So
Yeah,
what I'm saying is that
that's
like
true.
so at that level, like that's why there are health tents and ambulances on site, because things happen. So why wouldn't you have a drug testing tent? Things happen. You know what I mean? It's a preventative measure, whether it's on the patrons or not. You are taking care of the people. You are doing what you can to take care of the people. Now, there are still going to be fights that break out and people that fuck up and people that do shitty things and people that aren't representative of the entire community. But that is happening on your watch, under your name, under your festival, and you are going to be the sole proprietor of all of the blame should anything
Yeah,
happen.
I'm still like, yeah.
Next year, whenever you want to throw this festival again, all the people that want to go have to meter their expectations with 2 people died last year. You know what I mean? Like, that is something that you have to deal with as the organizer. So how much could it really cost for you to take that extra mile?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They
Like,
also-
I do agree that like people should be responsible for themselves, but I also agree that argue that if you're throwing an event for the masses, you should prepare for the masses.
It's a collective effort, I would say. But yeah, no, it's for sure first and foremost on the person throwing it. I think that also goes back to I was saying about like, of course, whoever's attending.
Yeah.
It's also up to the person throwing it to kind of set those standards.
I mean, at Astro World, there wasn't people saying those kids got what they deserved.
No,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
nah, but like that's what I'm saying. It's like, but as the organizer or the event thrower, promoter, whatever, it's also up to you to set those standards, right? And
Right.
kind of like preface before, like with the precautions and
Right.
safety, like and hazards that
Because
to
I
look
mean,
out for.
ideally, what we're talking about here is something that is in our reality that shouldn't be. Because ideally, in everyone's reality, every festival would have 0 health complications. You would have no heart attacks. You would have no fights that end in someone dying. You would have no drug overdoses. You would have no what's it called, suffocations, like whenever you're like in a deep crowd type shit. You would have zero health complications in this place that's supposed to be surrounded by love, community, music, art, all of these great things that people are coming together to celebrate. Gets ruined by things that could have been prevented. Things that could have been, and I'm not saying that you can prevent everything. I understand that some things do arise, but like what I'm saying is that you should be pushing towards that end goal, which is having an event where nothing goes wrong. And I'm sure there's hundreds of events where nothing goes wrong every year, but you're not hearing about those. You're hearing about the ones where people die, where people have issues with the management, where people get fucked over by the headliners, or you hear about all the bad situations. And wouldn't the goal to be to eliminate those bad situations?
Always. I'd say I'd say that Okeechobee did handling situation.
Say that again, that you didn't get
Oh
picked
yeah,
up.
Okeechobee did a terrible job of handling that situation, without a doubt. They did not close the
Venue?
no, they didn't close. I mean, the venue I would understand not closing. I mean, you got 3 more days of festival to go. You know what I mean? But address the issue. Let people know, like, someone drowned in that. Probably don't go back.
Oh, they didn't close the place where he drowned?
No.
Oh, shit.
I mean, they didn't have lifeguards either.
Yeah,
During that time period, which is probably also a dumb move on their part. Yeah, you should definitely close off the water. I think, where someone died, so no one's swimming in a water where someone just died.
Yeah.
They didn't do that, so that's fucked up.
That's kind of dark.
Yeah, that is dark and kind of fucked. So on that level, yeah, fuck them for that. That's super like bad event organization. Like, why would you not?
Right.
And then supposedly they didn't do a really good job of like searching for the body either.
I mean, put it this
So-
way: if there was like a office like outing, right, where like 100 people from this one company went to this like Mexican retreat, they went on an island, they doing all this shit, and one person dies, right? Now everybody in that fucking office gets to go back and work in an office where they all know they were all witness to one of their coworkers dying. You could at some level say, regardless of how it happened, you could at some level say like, damn, I wish Tom was still here, but you know what? Like, he was responsible for himself. He got himself into a situation that was kind of fucked up. It's not a representative of like who we are as a company. Or you could also look at it as like, what is the company gonna do for Tom's family?
Yeah, that's
you know what I
another-
mean.
yeah.
Like it. I don't know which side of the line you, like, whoever's hearing this would fall on, but in my opinion, I don't know how much responsibility you're putting on the person who went to a thing under the pretense that everything was going to be safe and happy and
Yeah.
go lucky. And maybe that's not even this. Maybe this person that we're talking about was like really down in the dumps, didn't have any expectation, and this was like the final moments of their life by choice. Like, there are plenty of situations, but relative to whatever you're talking about, I think there is a certain level of responsibility whenever you get people together. You have to understand there's always going to be like a worst case scenario. There's
Yeah.
always going to be something that you should have preparations for. Like, if you don't have a fire escape plan, then what are you going to do whenever a fire arises? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not. It is one of those things because it's not the patron's fault for a fire,
Right.
Or whatever.
Even if they're the one that lit the fire, even if that person lit the fire, it's still on you that you don't have a fire escape plan.
That's
you know what I mean?
That is very true. Also, condolences, to the people.
Absolutely. I
we lost
don't
our
know
lives.
that much about the situation, so if this is coming off insensitive, I apologize. But honestly, I'm tired of people dying for fucking no reason. I'm tired of people dying for fucking no reason.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. What you got also goes back to drug education, testing and shit. Being careful with what you're doing out there, who you're getting it from. All that stuff's very, very, very important. What were we talking about, dude? There was something I wanted to go back to earlier. We were talking about, I think,
Jamie, pull it up.
right. we were talking about. I think it's something to do with like TikTok and just like, becoming famous now and just like kind of where we're going with that. And
Oh, what I was saying about that was how like everyone has access to the spotlight without having the like credentials to be able to put on a show.
Yeah, I remember now. I remember now. All right, thanks. It was the fact that nowadays, though, I mean, even then, like back when we were younger, everyone wanted that, not necessarily rich lifestyle, but just like having, I mean, shit, suburban life was like pinnacle for a lot of people.
Right.
Now everyone wants to live large. Everyone wants to make it through, I mean, even just what we're doing, like podcasting or try to do something to where they're doing any type of media thing or starting their own business. Starting your own business, honestly, is very admirable. It's hard, especially right now, dude. That shit's fucking.
Especially with the failure rate, like it's
it's
courageous.
It's a brutal market out there
Yeah.
too. Like actually going out there, like brick
It's like
and mortar.
getting married.
Yeah, dude. Fuck.
50-50, baby.
Fuck. I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, now like brick and mortar nowadays, dude. That shit's fucking tough. I mean, especially when you got the internet, like building a fucking.
Oh yeah, no, brick and mortar doesn't really make sense for a lot of businesses. Like,
Nowadays,
it does
yeah.
make sense for like
Restaurants.
certain, well, obviously restaurants, but like certain, what am I thinking of?
Clothing.
like storefronts that have, so like
If you're
the
selling candles
the
or.
first thing that comes to mind is like a CBD shop where you have products and things like that that like someone could come like peruse through. Like most retail it probably could get done. That's what I'm saying. Like clothing could probably be done online,
Sheen.
other than the fact that like sizing isn't perfect. So like there's certain articles of clothing where you're like, I'm not gonna buy that online. I'm gonna have to try that on. I don't want to have to ship it back after it comes in. You know what I mean? Like that.
Someone was telling me or not telling me. I was reading it the other day. On Twitter was like, somebody wished there was more like a rave outfit storefronts. It's all online.
Really?
Like I've never seen a fucking.
It's probably like more obscure than you think though, because I would think that it's probably difficult to have like that niche of a market for one store. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
so, I
you
mean-
could probably have like a Spencer's type of deal where you have a bunch of different things and that's one portion of that store.
That's fair.
But like it'd probably be difficult to run a business purely off of that like material.
Honestly, Spencer's really nailed that. I'm not gonna lie.
Spencer's is perfect.
They nailed really what they did to
Yeah,
almost too
absolutely.
much.
I
Because they
mean-
got like so much weird shit in there, but it's like everyone
from,
loves
from
going in
lava
there.
lamps to dildos, literally all on one wall.
Dude, that.
You got
You
a
want-
beer pong table, lava lamps, some like party favors, and then dildos at the end.
You got posters, you got T-shirts, you got hats, you got gag gifts, you got fucking mugs,
all kinds of shit, dude.
lingerie. It's like, what if you walking in, you're like, I don't even know what I needed anymore. But
Right, and
gauges, you can get earrings, jewelry, bro. Like that place is fucking nuts. I'm thinking about it now.
yeah, I don't know. So, but like, not to move past what you were talking about.
But yeah,
like,
no, I'm sorry. That was just funny though.
I think it is difficult for a lot of businesses to exist in a brick and mortar in today's market based off of how much productivity people were able to show during the pandemic working from home.
Yeah.
Like whenever you saw that, like I was talking about it then, like if I ran a business and I saw that I lost like almost 0% productivity by the fact that people were working from home rather than working in the office, I could understand the point of view of saying like you got to have people in the office so that like they can connect with each other because people need connection. You don't want people to like feel isolated at home. I can understand that, but it would be hard for me to like dismiss the staggering savings that I would have by not having an office.
That's very
You know what I
true,
mean?
yeah.
Like all the fucking obviously the brick and mortar rent plus the fucking light bill plus the water shit, plumbing and all that shit. It's like you don't need that. It's not a requirement for a lot of businesses.
Oh, yeah, no. I think, but like also where I was going with that is that it's just crazy because everyone wants this high lifestyle, doing all this, shit that seems like almost like get rich quick type of thing. Like, how can I make, blow up like crypto or fucking foreign exchange or like what is something that where I can make money and be rich and live this fucking luxurious life? And we forget about all these jobs that actually, hold down the fucking.
Well, yeah, no, I was having this conversation.
And we don't pay those.
morning.
We don't. A lot of
I was
those.
having this
people,
conversation this morning.
we don't
dude.
pay those
It's
people
crazy.
enough, honestly.
Whenever I dropped off my dad after he had his operation this morning, he was telling so there was some people outside mowing the lawn in the neighborhood, and he's like, "Those are my guys. I take care of them." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, they just got their Christmas present because I was out of town for a while, so I mean, I didn't get a chance to see them. I missed them the past couple times they came." So I just got to give them their Christmas present type shit. And I was like, damn, that's dope. You like look out for them type shit. He's like, those are my people. Like, I grew up cleaning offices and selling newspapers and shining shoes, doing things, basically taking care of the world so that the world could run. And you never think about those people.
Nope.
You never think about the people that clean your office and empty your trash can and mop your floors and things just so that whenever you come to work, you can feel comfortable in the place of business. That person works tirelessly to clean up after your bullshit and you don't even know their name.
True.
And that's everywhere. That's in every walk of life. The person that mows your lawn, most people don't know have a connection with them. Person that picks up your garbage, you don't know who they are. The person that drops off your mail, you have no connection with. Like it used to be like people had this like deep connection with their mailman. Know everybody in the city that it does anything for them in their house. You know what I mean? It's always like a show of gratitude and appreciation. How are you? How's the wife? Type shit. But like now it's like you're so disconnected from everybody that does anything for you, but you almost can't do any of your regular day-to-day shit without those people, which is insane. You have zero connection to what makes your life possible.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It reminds me of that documentary that Mac Miller did. Stop making excuses.
On YouTube?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about, he was just opening boxes, and he's like, "You don't need help with that, or like you didn't hire." So he's like, "Nah, I'm trying to do real people things, like type shit. Like I'm doing things for myself now, some shit
Yeah.
like that along the lines. Cause so just probably for so long, he's like, in the old days, I'd have someone unpack this for me,
Right.
but it's like, oh no, he said I'm trying to get real life experiences. Just
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
hilarious. It's like, cause you get to a point you're so like, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you forget about those little things that you do for yourself because you don't have to.
I mean, like that's an extreme situation because once
Yeah.
you get to that level of like notoriety, you lose the ability to trust that a person is talking to you as themselves, or is this person want something? Is this person think that I'm a ticket to their livelihood? Or you have no understanding of genuine reality anymore because everyone wants something and you're the way for them to get it.
Yeah, but I was saying more so in the sense of just
Well, I know what you were
yeah.
saying, but what I'm saying is that when you get to that level, I think you are a little bit more disconnected than the normal person.
That's fair.
That's
But even we are
because
kind
even
of
the
at a
normal
point,
person has friends and things that they're like, this is my boy. But like when you're on that level, you're just like, are you still my boy, or do you have a business plan? You know what I mean?
Riding my
Like,
coattail right now. Is that what this?
not even just that, because like that's more so like I think of riding coattails as like you don't want to do it. The fucking BoJack Horseman's roommate, what's his name?
Todd.
Todd is riding coattails in a way. You know what I mean? Like where he's just living his life. He has no like ambitions to like work or do anything. He's just riding BoJack's coattail while also enjoying the fuck out of himself. That, in my opinion, is riding coattails. What I'm talking about is someone who is purely keeping their connection with you so that you see them as a friend, so that one day, whenever you present your business plan, they say, that sounds good. I believe in you. I want you to make it too. Here's some money. You know what I mean? That exists all too much. All too much of like, this guy got talent. Let me connect myself with him, and then down the line we'll be such boys. He puts me on too. You know what I mean? Like that happens way too much. It's disgusting. But I think beyond that, like there is like to your point, I think there is that disconnection where you don't really have real experiences anymore. Like the realest experience you have is the 10 minutes it takes you to go get the newspaper, take the trash out, and fucking like walk your dog. But even that you're spending on your phone.
Dude, you can fucking DoorDash shit now. You don't even have
Well,
to get your food
absolutely.
if you don't want to. You know what I mean? You don't gotta pick it up.
Absolutely. I mean, and I recommend it. DoorDash
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
sponsor this podcast, but they could if they wanted to. My thing is that like I think we just got to adapt. You know, like we've adapted in this world of the internet to a disconnected position, but we can use the world of the internet to connect even deeper than we did before. We're just so busy on the internet that we don't realize it's supposed to be a tool, not our reality.
What I'm saying is like, why don't we pay construction workers more? Or why don't we pay police officers?
I mean, that
or like teachers.
that is entirely predicated around the illusion of society.
Like why
The
don't
illusion that we have in our society is this idea that you gotta work for money, and money pays the bills, and to pay the bills you gotta work. It's this cycle of life. But then you realize that the people making the most money work the least.
Yep.
Or have the easiest jobs, I guess. But what I'm saying is that like that mentality of like life being cyclical in the way that you wake up, you work, you get paid, you pay just so that you can continue to wake up. That cycle doesn't really exist outside of poverty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyone outside of poverty doesn't have to worry about their next paycheck. Therefore, they don't have to wake up and worry about work. That doesn't mean they don't work. It doesn't mean they just have nothing to do. A lot of those people do have ambition and find ways to like work and do real things and have real experiences. But there are just as many, if not more, of those people that have no interest in doing that. The mentality of it's okay, that's someone's job to clean that up. That person exists all too much. The person that doesn't care who the person's job it is. They chose this job. They made the decision to work for this company. Let them clean the shit off of the fucking hotel bedroom. You know what I mean? Like,
Fucked up.
It's fucked up. But a lot of people have that mentality of like, well, they gotta earn their living somehow.
Why? It's like, why?
They could have came in here, changed the trash bag, and left, but you made this an event. You made this an event for their life.
Now they have their manager page them like, why are you taking so long?
Right.
Gotta clean up all this fucking shit.
There's some duty in room 208.
Yeah, like, you were supposed to already have done 4 or 5 bedrooms.
You were supposed to be on floor 12 by now, Diana.
Like, well,
fuck.
These pieces of shit.
Literally. Feces.
Dude, I wouldn't doubt that some people are on some fucking asshole shit, doing just way too much.
I mean, like, it's a literal stereotype how much it happens of, like, the Hollywood diva that destroys their hotel room after they don't get a part or some shit. You know what I mean? And by diva, I mean gender neutral. It's usually men. But, like, the diva is the action of what they're doing, acting like they deserved that part, and this is all fucked. The world's all against me. Shut the fuck up. You have millions of dollars in your account, and you're worried that the world is against you because you didn't get this part? Eat dicks, motherfucker. How about that?
Entitled people are fucking... it's a detachment of reality that, like, there's a lot of people doing a lot of shit to keep this world moving.
Right.
And running and making it to where we can live our lives conveniently. It doesn't come without a sacrifice on a lot of levels. Unfortunately, levels that we would rather avoid and not pay attention to because we like the phones that we have.
Right.
But
it's also easy to fall into being that type of person if you don't know how to step outside of your own perspective. You know what I mean? If you're just all day just selfishly only aware of what happens to you, then it doesn't matter what other people are dealing with. It doesn't matter what you put people through because that has no effect over you. You're only worried about what your mind has got going on. So therefore, it's fuck them.
I really think about it a lot. I'm like, there's always like a balance for me between, because I mean, usually like if I find someone who's a genuine person, like, you know what I mean, they're like, you could tell that they're trying a lot.
Yeah.
They're really just like, they're trying to make it, like, they're decent people. I don't like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not usually mean, right? But there's so many people. I'm included. I'm a dickhead too. I'll admit it. But it's just like, there's a point where do you let, like, there's just always that saying, you know, let karma get them, right? Or just whatever, like, let the universe take care of it. It's like, what if the universe chose me today?
Right.
What if the universe chose me to take care of this?
What if I am the vessel the universe is speaking through right now?
Like, you know, it's like.
No, I hear you though, because
someone and then you know, you always hear someone needs to put that person in their place or tell them. So it's like, why don't we just tell them?
You keep acting like that, you're gonna come across the wrong person someday. Bitch, it's today. I'm that person.
Yeah, someone's
Let's
gotta
go.
somebody's gotta be the wrong person eventually. Am I like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do
when's
get that, but I think that's more so a saying. I think you're telling that to the person to not get involved in something, not the person that's doing that. You know what I mean? Like nobody's telling someone like it's always outside of the conversation. It's always like, it's okay. They'll get what's coming to them. It's never like I'm walking away from this because I know that karma was gonna get you back. You know what I mean? That no one says that shit.
Some people do.
I hope they don't. That's lame as hell. But
You've got another thing coming to you, pal. You know what I mean?
see,
Like,
but okay, I get that. But even that's almost like fighting words. That's like right now. That's like you got another thing coming like right now. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's true. Where I'm at though is like if someone says something stupid, why can't I be like, yo, that was dumb as fuck? You shouldn't not say that because that's stupid.
That's interesting. I think that kind of goes into
how-
the
is that being
idea
a
that like,
dickhead?
why shouldn't I be able to be disrespectful to people I don't know? You know what I mean? Like,
well, I don't want to
why
be.
is my knowing you or my relationship with you make it acceptable for me to say certain things that you wouldn't like other people to say to you? You know what I mean?
It's not even just that. It's more.
Because
So,
that is kind of what it is. It's like, you don't know me like that. Who the fuck are you, motherfucker?
yeah, it's just like, but if someone, yeah, that too actually.
what I
but
mean?
also, if it's just like if someone is disrespectful or rude, not necessarily me being rude back or like just causing a scene, but why can't I easily just be like, shut up?
Because that's disrespectful.
But like, why can't I? You know what I mean? Like, where's the line? Like, people are just like, I feel like there's this thing sometimes where people just tiptoe around, and then we're like, you know what? Be the bigger person. Why can't being the bigger person sometimes just telling someone, hey, dude, you're wrong.
That is sometimes being the bigger person.
Like just letting them know that that's not okay.
That's being the bigger person in relation to the person that is enabling what they're doing. If you're just enabling someone that's hitting their wife and instead of stepping in regardless of the repercussions, like if you see someone hitting their wife, you can either walk away and tell somebody about it, or you can walk into it knowing you might get your ass beat, but with your intentions correct. You know what I mean? Like you can't stand on the possibilities. If that's how you truly feel, walk in that fucking ring. Go do what you want to do to be the bigger person. But that only relies on you following your true intention.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
It's also like the case. I'm not gonna say names, but like say there's a case like where someone who may be a woman who does a lot of dumb shit a lot. You know what I mean?
You're just gonna gender her like
Right.
that?
Where she says a lot of just dumb things and is very rude to people all the time, and everyone talks shit behind her back and doesn't like her, right? But me, being the person I am, when she says something stupid, I'm like, that you're wrong. Like she'll say stuff that she's confident. I'm like, that's not true. And then
see,
now I'm a dickhead and they don't like me. But it's like, am I
think
worse
it's-
than the people that are talking behind her back?
No. But
Or-
you might be just as bad in the way that if it's just simply something that's bothering you, you always have the option to not say anything. So you don't have to step into that ring.
That's
You're not
true.
required to tell this person she's wrong or that she's being an idiot or that she's an asshole or that people are talking shit about her behind her back.
Well, I don't say
You're not
any of that.
required to say anything.
I just, yeah.
So when you choose to and it comes off as disrespectful, that's the problem.
So I think it is work. Okay, I guess
It's the
working.
don't say anything unless you got something nice to say.
Okay,
idea.
then maybe being like, hey, look, just being honest with you, a lot of things you say are very rude and mean, and I don't think a lot of people appreciate it. That, like, I guess that'd be a nicer way to say it.
Yes, but if
That
you've
could almost be
already
worse.
gone with the first one, it'll be hard to walk into that now.
That's
It's not
fair.
going to come from what feels like a genuine position.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like, how do you counter dickheads? I usually counter it. I'm not gonna lie. The way I always put it is like, I am smart in aspects, but I'm just dumb enough to stoop to the level of another dumb person and be able to fucking tango. I don't give a fuck.
For me, it's being smart enough to walk away when you have to,
That's fair.
but also being bold enough to protect yourself at all times. And that can even mean verbally, mentally. Like if someone is bothering you or your family or anything, you should have the ability to stand up for yourself within you. That being said, if they pull out a gun your pride should not take precedent.
That's fair. Yeah, reasonable. Very
You know what I
reasonable.
mean?
Very
So it's
reasonable.
like I think you should meter your expectations in every encounter, but that doesn't mean you should just not stand up for yourself whatsoever.
Yeah. I just personally think there's just too many people in the world now that feel like whatever they say or whatever
Depopulation, baby.
Oh, fuck. whatever they say or whatever they do is like the precedent of life. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the standard, and they feel like the way they view things is the way the world is, and this is life, and they're right. And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, the rest of us are just trying to survive out here.
Right.
Like, dude, you don't have to be like that. It's okay. You can just let people live. We can fucking try to enjoy the things that we can enjoy before we're all living on the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's all just try to enjoy some things before everything goes to shit.
Right.
Is that too much to ask? Holy shit.
I don't know. I think beyond that, it's also like you gotta take control over your own energy. Like they say protect your energy, but like you gotta control that shit too. Like a lot of people are stepping into things they should absolutely not be in because it's either cool or trendy or it seems like the right idea, but like theoretically speaking, like I don't know, whenever you break it down, like what are the basics of happiness? What are the basics of feeling fulfilled in your life? It's waking up every day, not hating yourself, finding a way to enjoy your day, finding a way to help others, and doing all that you can to like survive. You know what I mean? Like at a basic level, nobody is doing that. At a basic level, there's not a whole lot of people that I know that are waking up every day saying, another day in paradise, baby, and meaning it. Most people say that sarcastically.
I say it a lot sarcastically.
But what I'm saying is, like, how many people are truly waking up every day with purpose and fulfillment and happiness throughout their body? It's a fantasy to think that that exists. You are going to have struggles. You are going to have times in your life where nothing makes sense and you just got to keep pushing through. But that shouldn't discourage you from the living your life part of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's this strange part of our generation or our society at this point in time where, like, we have forgotten that, like, life is not about money. It's not about who the fuck our president is. It's not about, like, what's going on in politics or fucking war or things like that. Like, those are facets of life, but that's not what life is all about. And we've lost that. Like, we have zero connection to what we're supposed to be doing here. So we all cling to books that preach gods or false idols that preach things that just sound good, and we have no real connection to like the people we're supposed to be, the things we're supposed to be doing as those people, and the achievements our society could get to should we just focus on what really matters.
You know, it's crazy to think that some of the happiest people are the people that live like, in terms simplest life. It means like not in excess is what I mean.
Right.
But like the people, not simple in the fact of like they're not doing anything, because I mean usually it's the people who are like cutting their own
Working
wood.
the fucking hardest.
Yeah, the people cutting their own wood or fucking cooking their own meals, hunting, or fucking.
Or fucking doing that for everyone else and not even having time to do it for themselves.
That's true too, exactly. And some of those people are the happiest, you know, to go tending to all this shit. Some people are happiest when they're providing for everybody,
Exactly.
and people take and it's usually those people who get taken for granted because, you know, everyone wants what they want. They're not worried about, you know, the people.
It's not cool to be that guy. It's cool to have sunglasses and a bald head and talk about how women don't have rights, apparently. But what I'm saying is,
it's cool to act like you're the shit. For some reason, it's popular to be like, act like you're the shit, and that, you know, I don't have to worry about these fucking people because I got.
When did the switch happen where, like, I remember whenever I was growing up, like, ego was looked at like a bad thing. Like, you're having an ego trip, just relax. Like, it's not all about you, motherfucker. But like now it's like it's encouraged to have this strong ego, to disconnect yourself from everyone else and be the person that you are, be the best you can be. I'm not saying you shouldn't be the best you can be, but do it for every other reason than I want to be the best. You know what I mean? Like, fuck that. Be the best you can be, the best that you can be for what that provides to others, not for what that provides to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's the idea of earning $1 million on a comedy special and then putting all of that $1 million back into your comedy. Fuck profiting. That's not why you joined this business. You joined this business for the sake of comedy, for the sake of making people laugh, for the changing of people's lives. That's why you joined it. So why not pour back all the money you made into that? I mean, I understand why some people don't. I mean, people have families and things, but like on a basic level, like that is what that is. I don't need to make money from this. I am giving back to the thing that provided for me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We all have a disrespect for the things that we came up with, for the things that paved our roads, literally and metaphorically.
The things that have like inspired us, or like given birth to who we are, and we don't even realize it. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't know. Maybe disrespect is the wrong word. It's like I like the saying that we're a species living in amnesia. In the way that we have zero connection to our past, zero connection to who we once were, literally nothing about where we come from unless you believe this or dial into that thought process. We have little to no information about the complexities of how life evolutioned from a fucking single-celled organism into a monkey, into a human being, and finding out how all of that process really happened. Like that doesn't exist. There isn't a history book that has that information, and even if there was, you couldn't trust it. So like we're left with this thought process of like, I hope that's real. I hope what you're telling me is true. Because right now, all I know is that, like, if you had the chance, if you had the opportunity, you would burn down the libraries of every other country to make yours more powerful.
Yep.
So, therefore, what do we have as knowledge? How recent is that knowledge? How well are the translations of knowledge from one language to the next? Like, how perfectly do we understand where we come from?
As Americans, we're so focused on stuff that happened in the past 400 years, which is still important. You know what I mean? We're still trying to get over the last big mistake that we made. You know, like
that's one way of putting it.
Yeah, right. It's big fuck up for sure, but it's just like, dude, in terms of like long-term history, dude, like we've forgotten about all the bullshit that this is a lot. Like there's a lot of shit that's ass.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is an
Like
entire.
we need to move, like not like saying move forward from not recognizing what happened, but actually taking the time to really actually recognize it, not just try to blame everybody and everything. Really make that progress forward and actually make change rather than just holding that hate in. We're all fighting ourselves at this point. We're fighting each other over shit, and while there's obviously
we're basically on the brink of a second civil war. I mean,
every day,
I mean,
basically.
We're inching closer and closer by the day. It's not pretty.
I wouldn't even say just civil war. I'd say fucking war with ourselves for fucking food and resources.
Literal meaning of civil war.
Yeah, war on civility, dude.
No, it's a war that's civil within one country. I believe that's what civil means, like in that context.
Oh, like a war between each other.
A war within one country. Yeah.
Oh, then yeah.
Like the Korean War was a civil war because it split North and South Korea.
Oh, then fuck yeah. We are on definitely.
I believe.
We are constantly on the brink of
that's
that.
Correct.
We are
I might be wrong about that. But
we're constantly. If that's the case, then yeah, we're constantly on the brink of that, dude. Gotta fucking work together, man. We gotta realize that it takes everybody. You know what I mean? Like to create a well-oiled machine, every part's important. You know, without any piece, you know, it's not gonna function properly.
Oh, it can even be broken down into like a state level. Like it says a violent conflict between a state and one or more organized non-state actors in the state's territory. So that would be like the America fighting the Confederacy in America, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, was fucking, I guess Texas and Mexico technically a civil war?
Yeah. Well, kind of.
At the time?
I mean, it was it was probably seen as like a Mexican Civil War. It's called like Texas's independence, but theoretically speaking, if the Confederacy won the Civil War, it would be called the Confederacy's independence, not the Civil War. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of
So I guess the definition is dictated by the victor.
as always. Yeah, before we sign out, I wanted to ask a question. I wanted to start off with this. We can start off with. I wanted to say one thing you're thankful for this past week, and one thing that you feel like
Thanksgiving?
no, but just to reflect back on the week. One thing that you were like grateful for, and then one thing that you feel like we could work on, or one thing that you weren't too happy about. Fucking go first. If you want.
Yeah, go first. I don't know. Right
I'd say this past week, I was really grateful. My girlfriend, grateful for all my friends, just hanging out. I mean, even yesterday, went to go see one of the homies perform. Let's hang out, go back and hang out with a bunch of more of our friends, and just like all the people that I have around me, all the people I've come to meet that are just genuine souls, people that like have good hearts. It's hard to find that, like people that really will hold it down, that actually mean what they say and are about it. I'm really thankful to have a lot of that in my life when there's a lot of people who just kind of meander about and bullshit. If there's one thing that this past week I'd probably say I work on is just my insecurities, just kind of coming to grips with myself and like handling my emotions a little bit better, just about in general, and really just working on being better about that. Something I
Okay.
could really work on, and just really making sure like I'm taking care of the people around me.
Yeah, I feel that. Fuck, dude. Trying to connect with my
Also, I could
last
get up.
7 days of memories.
I need to get up earlier. I think that's another thing. Just like I just suck at it so much, dude. I say it all the time. If I'm gonna get better at anything this past week, it's getting up early. Like I got up at fucking the other day. I couldn't sleep, so I got up at. I mean, I was at the gym by 6:30. I was out of there by 8. Took a fucking nap. Got up.
This fart comes your way, I want to apologize in
Oh
advance.
damn, dude. I'm gonna prep, dude. But just like I cleaned my room, rearranged my room, dude. Fucking took my dog to the park. Fucking went to go see Winton perform. His In the Low shit out at Trash Panda in Houston, and then St. Patty's Day that day too. So then I went out and had a couple drinks. Honestly, it was a great fun. Honestly, that was probably one of my best days off. Like I did so much, and honestly, I had a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, dude.
So like if I could do more of that,
Yeah.
like that, I want to do more of that. That's
Right.
like what I want to push my life forward, is like accomplishing shit throughout the day,
Yeah.
but also finding time to enjoy myself. Kind of like balancing that out a lot more. That was like a precedent for what I really want to move forward with in my life.
Yeah, I feel that. For me, I don't know. I mean, I'm grateful to be alive. Wasn't a very eventful week for me, to be fair. Work's been kicking my ass.
That's one thing maybe you could say you fucking want to
Yeah,
move forward.
no. I mean, not to be like dark or anything, but nothing stands out on the positive side from the past week.
A lot of shit.
I mean, it was mostly just like bullshit. I mean, like I haven't been scheduled as much as I need to be at work, so I'm dealing with like financial stress on that end. I mean, I've gotten to see family a little bit more, which is nice, but that also comes with its own stresses. Outside of that, I mean, I've just been staying out the way. I mean, as I don't know, I've been struggling with the concept of what I've been doing lately, which is playing a lot of video games, staying in the house, not spending money, and just relaxing. I mean, the complications I'm really with, the crossroads that I'm at is like, I do understand that I'm 25 going on 26. Time doesn't last forever, and I am, in a certain sense, pissing a little bit of my life away right now. But at the same time, like, after going out, shit, damn near 3, 4, 5 times a week for 3 to 4 or 5 years in a row, I can't say it's not peaceful. It's been really like I'm not even gonna like that's last night at Matt's. Whenever they asked me like, why didn't you come to AJ's show? The immediate answer was, I don't have a good reason. I was at home relaxing. I needed it. You know what I mean? Like, and I did. That's a true answer. Like I love AJ. I wish I could have been there, but I didn't have the social battery to get up out of the house. Maybe that's seen as like a little bit depressive. I'm okay with that. Not saying that I'm okay with depression, saying that like I'm okay with my actions being seen as depressive because what they're actually doing is protecting some of my energy. I used to just give out my energy to whoever would take it, talk to whoever would listen, see, just spill out everything and every part of who I am type shit. Now I feel a lot better protecting the person that I am, knowing I don't have to be anybody that I'm not, knowing I don't have to show up. I don't even have FOMO anymore. Like, it's gotten to a point where I'm like, I don't have the fear of missing out. I would love to talk about the people that were there, like talk to the people that were there about what they experienced because it seems dope. I'm interested, but I don't like. Not that I don't care. I care, but I don't care so much that I feel as if I'm losing an experience. I understand that my life is going to end when my life ends. So I'm not going to worry about what day and time that ends up being. If it comes to the end of my life and I can get to sit back and say, damn, I wasted too much time, or fuck, I regret not doing that, I get to live with that. If there's even an afterlife and I have any memory of any of that shit. But like personally, I'm kind of done doing shit I don't really like. I'm not moved by, if that makes sense. And I'm not necessarily saying that like I can't do things that I'm not moved by. I can and I will if someone means something to me and they want me to be there, they ask me to be there, I'll go. You know what I mean? But like if it's a situation where like friends are getting together, I no longer have the inclination to say I have to be there. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just me, and I'm accepting of that. But like personally, I've found a lot more peace in the past couple of months just minding my own business.
That's fair. It's different for everybody. I like to stay going, dude. I like to fucking active.
And I feel that. I mean, it's not like I'm missing out on anything.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. It's
personally, I'm missing out on things. What I'm saying is like I haven't missed a step in it with any of my friends. I haven't lost a connection or anything that I really wish I had. I'm saving money, protecting my peace, and losing nothing but that one experience. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's crazy. I don't even go out as much thinking about it. You go out even less than I do, which is and I don't even go out that much anymore either, dude. Like
I mean, like
usually if I'm going out, it's for like a show on the weekends.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
usually
like,
if I'm going out, you're there. It's like to Postino's or some shit.
Yeah, I'm usually either going out once during the week and then probably for a show on the weekend. And that's if there is a show that I'm going to on the weekend. If not, then I'm probably going out like once, maybe.
Right.
Which honestly, for some people, like that's still a lot. For me, that's like. Not shit.
It's not. And that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, we literally used to go out so much. We had a different special for whatever night of the week it was. Oh, it's Thursday? All right, let's go here. It's Tuesday? Let's go here. Oh, it's Friday? Fuck, there's no specials tonight. Let's just hit the main bar. You know what I mean? Like we were so calculated in our going out that we never had to spend more money than we had to type shit. You know what I mean? We had free deals. We had people hooking it up on different situations. Like, it was ridiculous. To say that I need to go out now is a joke. Like maybe I burnt myself out on going out or some shit, but like realistically, I'm not trying to go sit at a bar and be on my phone just to say I'm at the bar.
Oh, dude, fuck no. Half the time I'm tired from work. I don't want to go out. Like you get home and it's like you want to go to the bar. Fuck no.
It's also additionally
on Tuesdays. Sometimes I want wings though.
Additionally, now that I'm driving for a living, I mean, anytime I get home after a shift, I don't want to get back in the car. You know what I mean? Like, and I will if there's an event or something going on, but it's not something I'm feeling great about. I'm putting myself through that, not enjoyably going through it.
Very fair. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up, guys. Fucking keep doing you. Show some love to some people. Show some love to your fucking self. Have some compassion out there. Keep pushing forward. Take some time to yourself. Figure things out. Read a book. Go for a walk. Get a dog. I'm just kidding. That's a lot of responsibility if you're not ready for it.
Name 10 books. You haven't seen that? You've seen that.
What is that?
The kid who was like on the podcast with those fucking girls, and he was like, "I'm on a fucking podcast right now with the fucking literate.
Yeah.
Oh, you can name 10 books."
That is true. Yeah, I did see that.
That shit's funny.
That kid was funny.
Saw it again today because he popped out doing some. I don't know. That kid's weird.
Yeah, there was that kid who like walked up during like something. It was like a gaming thing
Well,
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
well,
remember that
he
a while
did
back.
He did it again today, or maybe not today, but it popped out today. It's like his name's JaVale McGee. He's I don't
Basketball
think he's
player?
retired. He's an NBA player. He might be retired. He might be on like his final years of contract. I'm not really sure what his situation is. He was at a soccer game, and this kid just came up to him. And he's like trying to troll him, and then like in the video, you're like, I know that fucking kid. Where the fuck do I know that kid from? And then you just read the comments. You're like, oh, it's the fucking illiterate dude. Okay, but like whenever you see him in that video, you're like, the fuck. Like, this is the same kid type shit. Like, damn, like those views didn't last long, huh, buddy?
Right.
I don't know. It is what it is. Shit was funny to me.
Fair enough. All right, we'll wrap it up there. You guys take care. We'll catch you next week, next episode. Love you guys. Until next time.
Love you guys. Bye.